All right, folks. I just took the last, I don't know how many minutes to re-go over the Deuteronomy 1. And I'm going to give you a quick little summary. So they chose the 12 leaders for the 12 tribes. They set up a judgment system for problem solving. So there's like a hierarchy, right? So each tribe, they go to that person who was chosen and, they take up their cases to him. And then he tries to solve it for them. And then if they can't solve it, they go up to Moses. He's like the Supreme Court. You know what I mean? And then finally, God told them to go into the promised land. And I believe they were hesitant. Excuse me. They kept complaining a lot. The people of Israel. And the Lord became very angry, and he swore that none of them will go into the new promised land. And instead, he told them that their descendants would, right? Like their children who are what was the word when you have no wrong, I guess, who are innocent. That's the word. And the Lord was angry as well with Moses, and told him that he wouldn't be able to enter the promised land either. And he told him that Joshua, which is his assistant, he will lead the people into the promised land. And the Lord told Moses to encourage him to lead the people to the promised land. Now, after the people saw they were wrong in their trouble, they were like, you know what? Let's do what the Lord told us. Let's go to the promised land and let's go fight for our land. But the Lord told him, I'm not with you. Like y'all are acting out on your own right now. I didn't tell you how to do this right now. I told you how to do it way back then. Y'all didn't follow my lead. So he said, if you go, you will get swarmed. Wait, no, he says, if you go ahead on your own, you will be crushed by your enemies. And it was told that they went and the Amorites, I believe, who lived there, they came out like a swarm of bees, and they battered and chased them all the way from Seir to Hormah. Then they returned and wept before the Lord. All right. Now we are reading Deuteronomy 2. Excuse me. So let's go right ahead. It says, remember Israel's wanderings. Then we turned around and headed back across the wilderness towards the Red Sea, just as the Lord had instructed me, and we wandered around in the region of Mount Seir for a long time. Then at last the Lord said to me, you have been wandering around in the hill country long enough. Turn to the north, give this order to the people. You will pass through the country belonging to your relatives, the Edomites, the descendant of Esau, who live in Seir. The Edomites will feel threatened, so be careful. Do not bother them, for I have given them all the hill country around Mount Seir as their property. And I will not give you even 1 square foot of their land. If you need food to eat or drink or water to drink, pay them for it. For the Lord your God has blessed you in everything you have done. He has watched your every step through this great wilderness. During the 40 years the Lord your God has been with you, and you have lacked nothing. So we bypassed the territory of our relatives, the descendants of Esau, who lived in Seir. We avoided the roads through the Araba Valley that comes up from Elath and Ezion-Geber. Then as we turned north along the desert route through Moab, the Lord warned us, do not bother the Moabites, the descendants of Lot, or start war with them. I have given them Ar as their property, and I will not give you any of their land. A race of giants called the Emites had once lived in the area of Ar. They were as strong and numerous and tall as the Anakites, another race of giants. Both the Emites and the Anakites, also known as the Rephites, though the Moabites called them Emites in earlier times, the Horites had lived in Seir. But they were driven out and displaced by their descendant of Esau, just as Israel drove out the people of Canaan when the Lord gave Israel their land. That was a lot to take in, man. God bless you if you stayed through. Moses continued, then the Lord said to us, get moving, cross the Zerad brook. So we crossed the brook. 38 years passed from the time when we left Kadesh Barnea until we finally crossed the Sered brook. By then all the men old enough to fight in battle had died in the wilderness, as the Lord had vowed would happen. The Lord struck them down until they had been eliminated from the community. When the men of fighting age had died, the Lord said to me, "Today you will cross the border of Moab at Ar, and enter the land of the Ammonites, the descendants of Lot. But do not bother them or start a war with them. I have given the land of Ammon to them as their property, and I will not give you any other land." The area was once considered the land of Rephaites, who had lived there, though the Ammonites called them Zazumites. Though the Ammonites called them Zazumites, they were as strong as and numerous as They were as strong and numerous and tall as the Anakites. But the Lord destroyed them so the Ammonites could occupy their land. He had done the same for the descendants of Esau who lived in Seir. For he destroyed the Horites so they could settle their peace there. For he destroyed the Horites so they could settle there in their place. The descendants of Esau live there to this day. A similar thing happened when the Captorites from Crete invaded and destroyed the Abites, who had lived in villages in the area of Gaza. Moses continued, "Then the Lord said, Now get moving. Cross the Arnon Gorge. Look, I will hand over to you Sihon the Amorite, king of Heshbon, and I will give you his land. Attack him and begin to occupy the land. Beginning today, I will make people throughout the earth terrified because of you. When they hear reports about you, they will tremble with dread and fear." I find it amazing how once those men who were like in battle passed, that's when the God was like, "Y'all gonna fight." Like, you gotta really have faith, because your warriors just passed. Well, they were too old and they passed, And now the Lord is telling you to fight. You gotta have the faith that it takes to go into that land. It says, victory over Sihon of Heshbon. Moses continued, "From the wilderness of Kedemoth, I sent ambassadors to King Sihon of Heshbon with this proposal of peace. Let us travel through your land, and we will stay on the main road. We won't turn off into the fields on either side. Sell us food to eat and water to drink, and we will pay for it. All we want is permission to pass through the land." The descendants of Esau who live I cannot turn the page, man. It's very, very, very small. The descendants of Esau who live in Seir allowed us to go through their country, so did the Moabites who live in Ar. Let us pass through until we cross the Jordan into the land that the Lord our God has given us. But King Sihon of Heshbon refused to allow us to pass through, because the Lord your God made Sihon stubborn and defiant, so he could help you defeat him as he has now done. Then the Lord said to me, "Look, I have begun to hand King Sihon and his land over to you. Begin now to conquer and occupy his land." And the Lord said to me, "Look, I have begun to hand King Sihon and his land over to you. Begin now to conquer and occupy the land." Okay. The Lord is telling them to occupy the land that they're trying to go through. Then King Sihon declared war on us and mobilized his forces at Yahaz. But the Lord our God handed him over to us, and we crushed him, his sons and all his people. We destroyed all his towns and completely destroyed everyone. Men, women, children. Not a single person was spared. We took all their livestock as plunder for ourselves, along with anything of value from the towns we ransacked. The Lord our God also helped us conquer Aroer. On the edge of the Arnon Gorge, and the town in the Gorge, and the whole area as far as Gilead. No town had walls too strong for us. However, we avoided the land of the Ammonites all along the Jabbok River, and the towns in their hill country. All the places the Lord our God had commanded us to leave alone. Word 2. That's the Lord's people, man. They followed the Lord's word step by step. They didn't attack the land that they were going through, that they weren't supposed to. In fact, they try to do it peacefully. They try to ask for permission, but they said no. So once they attacked them, they said it's time to gear up, and then they whooped everybody's butt. And they took over their land, their food, and kept them moving. Because we got to get to the promised land, you feel me? God bless, my friend. It was pretty good to read this. I understood a good amount of it. Now, you tell me about the stories of like where the giants was living, you know, what their name were, and all that stuff. I forgot that. But I got the other stuff. I will have to reread this. God bless, my friend. You guys have a good night, all right? God bless.